Hello, football fans. Welcome back to another episode of Madison's Players, Predictions, and Playoffs. We're going to jump straight into it today because I think we have a lot to talk about with this player. So, let's talk football. If you guys have been following up on my social media, I have told you guys before that I am a Steelers fan, so I'm repping a very old Ben Roethlisberger jersey. But you guys already guessed it from last week. We know who exactly we're talking about. He's got a lot of attention on him right now. Mitch Trubisky. We're going to dive right into it with him because we've got tons to talk about. So Trubisky was drafted in 2017 by the Chicago Bears. He was pretty successful in his second season with them, getting them the NFC North Division title. But then in 2021, he became a free agent where he ended up signing with the Buffalo Bills, and he started as a backup for Josh Allen. But then again, in 2022, he became a free agent, which is when he ended up signing with the Steelers. And even though Trubisky was signed with the Steelers, it was not an easy battle for him to get to starting QB. He was a big topic during the preseason. We saw, a lot of effort from him. We also had Kenny Pickett in the mix and Mason Rudolph in the mix. So it was a very tough battle for him to get to this position. But ultimately, Mike Tomlin, coach of the Steelers, decided that Mitch Trubisky was going to be the starting QB. But as starting QB, Trubisky hasn't been really performing as well as we expected him to. We saw Trubisky do really well in the preseason, leaving the Steelers undefeated during the preseason. But once we got into the regular season, it seemed like all that just went away. They won the first game against the Bengals, but then lost the previous two against the Browns and the Patriots. And a lot of that was Mitch Trubisky. The offense wasn't on top of it and wasn't doing what it needed to do. Trubisky has only had 2 touchdowns in the season so far, 3 games in, and has had 5 sacks, at least 1 in each game. Everybody is saying, call this play, call that play. It makes it tough for everyone to do their jobs. I think everybody just needs to worry about their job. We'll just keep growing and going in the right direction. That's my take on it. Everyone's got suggestions. Everyone wants the ball in their hands. We've got a bunch of talent, and we've just got to figure out what works best for us going forward. So Trubisky thinks that this isn't all on him. Again, he's seen a lot of hate, especially from Steelers fans, saying that they need to bring Kenny Pickett in. But to Mike Tomlin, that's absolutely not going to happen yet. He's not ready to do that. Mike Tomlin was asked after their loss with the Browns if he's ready to make any significant changes to the offensive starting lineup for the Steelers, especially the QB position, and he says, quote, "I'm not in that mindset. I'm interested in reviewing this tape and looking at the totality of it and figuring out how we collectively get better." So the answer to that question is definitively no. So he's not ready to do it. There must be something that Mike Tomlin sees in Mitch Trubisky that is, holding him together, wanting to keep it on there. He's being patient with him. He's ready to see, and I think he's expecting a lot from him because he wouldn't have kept him in this long if this was happening. A lot of Steeler fans have been wondering if Pickett was going to be out on the field during their game with the Browns. He was out on the sidelines, had his helmet out, was ready to go, but we didn't see him in the game so far, so we'll have to see what comes with Kenny Pickett. But as for right now, Mitch Trubisky is going to continue playing. He is still on the lineup. He is still starting QB for the Steelers, so we really just have to see how it goes. A lot of fans aren't putting the blame on Mitch Trubisky, though. They're calling out Steelers offensive coordinator Matt Canada for this miscommunication and the struggle we've seen with Mitch Trubisky all season long. Matt Canada was hired by the Steelers in 2020 as a quarterback coach, but was then recently promoted in 2021 to be the Steelers offensive coordinator. And, through that time, a lot of players haven't seen a lot come from him, aren't really pleased with what he's doing, the calls that he's making. In his time working with Ben Roethlisberger, he would make all the calls in the first half, leading Steelers to very drag in the first half of any game that they played. And only in the second half did they let their quarterbacks take control, let their quarterbacks make the calls, which is when we saw the team really progress and, get a lot of their wins last season. But now, Matt Canada has been running everything, and a lot of fans think that that is what the problem is. It's not Mitch Trubisky, it's Matt Canada. Like I've said before, time's really only going to tell if we're going to see if Mitch Trubisky's really going to bring it back for the team. Everyone's getting a little frustrated. Everyone's saying that, they're not making the plays that they can do. We've obviously seen that Mitch Trubisky has had plenty of wide open spaces to be getting it, especially to wide receiver George Pickens, but we're just not seeing those plays going through. We're seeing him getting sacked. We've seen 2 touchdowns from him the entire season. So a lot of people are expecting more for him, and time's only going to tell if he's going to continue to get better. I'd think with, people saying Mitch Trubisky needs to be taken out, Kenny Pickett needs to be in, that this would be lighting a fire under his ass and telling him that he needs to get it together. But we're really only going to be able to see that in the following games. We're really going to keep an eye on that because Trubisky has been a pretty interesting topic of conversation in the NFL team and in the NFL league. So we're really just going to keep an eye on that, and we're going to see what happens with it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed it. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button to follow along with my channel. Also, make sure you follow me on Instagram and Twitter, which is @MadisonPredicts. I'll have the link in the description below. Next week's going to be a bit of surprise. I'm not going to say who I'm talking about yet. I want you guys to go on my Instagram, Twitter, and in the comments of this video, and guess who it's going to be. I'm going to be dropping hints all week of who we're going to be talking about next week. Thank you guys so much for watching again, and I'll see you next week on Madison's Players, Predictions, and Playoffs. Have a good one, guys.